every 6 months. He's got 2 chauffeur-driven cars. He's a member of a prestigious club in the city. Blah, 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 blah. He needs all this to make him happy. But the sad reality of life in his state is he only has 40% of it. Are you following, sir? 30% developed, he needs 70%, he only has 40%. What is that deficit minus 30%, you know? That minus 30% is called hell. That's the definition of hell. Every time you see someone driving a flashy car, I wish I had that. Every time you hear someone who is a permanent member of a prestigious club, I've been so desperately trying through all my corporate contacts and influence and pushing and pulling and trying to get that for my family. Chah, I wish I had that. Somebody goes to an exotic holiday or a cruise holiday. Somebody is sharing their happiness with you. And what's happening within you? You're envious of that fellow. I can't talk any further after that. What a pavi. You can aspire whatever you want. Vedanta doesn't put any limit to your aspiration. But it also says you must be contented and happy and satisfied wherever you are. If you believe that happiness is in the next achievement, then you will not be happy till you get there. You be happy now and get what you want. There is no qualms to progression. Vedanta doesn't say you shouldn't acquire, but don't pitch your happiness into future achievements. See, what the mistake we are doing is, if we say, I am happy when I get that, if I get that, what are we doing? We are actually postponing our happiness to future achievements. Means you will be happy only when you get there. And even if you were to get there, whenever you do get, would you be happy? Your mind plays another game with you. Okay, now you got it, but you know there's something else, you know that? Then it starts another vicious cycle. Then you start that until you get to that point. Once you reach there, something else distracts you. This is the life. You want to find peace and happiness. If I want to ask, if I want to measure your happiness quotient, if I were to freeze your lives in some way now, and actually if there is a way to measure it, I'll exactly know what is your level of happiness. Because happiness means only in the present. Happiness means now, this moment, here, iha. Here can you claim yourself to be happy. If you are not, you lost it. Don't tell me something tomorrow. Now, here, this moment, 6:07, not even 6:09, 6:07, this moment now, you must be happy. And you must be reveling every moment of it. Not in the past, not in the future, every moment. So what was I saying? What was I saying prior to this? Hell. The minus 30 is you feel yourself disappointed, you feel yourself unhappy, you feel you have lost that piece of success in your life. At this age, that fellow is at that level and I am so far behind, and you feel there's something seriously shortfall in your life. As I've said last week, sir, for your benefit, whenever we compare ourselves with others, we make the fundamental mistake of comparing ourselves with people who are better placed than us. Never do that. But if at all you were to compare yourself with people who are less fortunate than you, you may be having an old car. You look at a fellow who has bought a brand new car, you'll obviously feel unhappy about it. But if you look at a person who is going on a two-wheeler with two children in the monsoon, you feel thankful, at least I have a roof for my family. You'll be happy. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't aspire. Aspire as much as you want, can. Learn to be happy. But if your spiritual development is 80%, you have done so much to yourself, you have evolved. Your dependency becomes only 20%. You don't need 2 chauffeur-driven cars. You don't need a 6-digit salary. You don't need a membership in a club. You don't need to travel 6 months abroad. You don't need all that. You don't need all that. You're very happy. Oliver Goldsmith, in the poem called The Village Preacher, the famous Oliver Goldsmith, he says, Oliver Goldsmith, isn't it? Yeah. He talks about a village preacher, and talking about his greatness, he describes how wise he was, or how profound his inner wealth was. He says he was passing rich with 40 pounds a year. He just makes this innocuous statement. He was passing rich. Poetry, ma. You might be interested. Passing rich with 40 pounds a year. Means what is an annual, monthly earnings, Revolo? 3.5, 4 pounds a month. He was rich with that. Sir, one of the most beautiful definitions of richness or poverty. Please write it down. When your desires, when your demands, when your aspirations are far more than your income, you're a poor person. When your desires are more than your income, you're a poor person. But when your desires are well within your income, you're a rich man. And the sad reality of life is how much ever you have materially advanced, similarly you have spiritually devolved. Materially I have advanced, but spiritually I have devolved because my mind's desires have risen, my demands have risen, and that has not made me any more happy. Not only you must materially progress, you must also spiritually progress, isn't it? Spiritual progression is to check your mind. Is to see where your mind is, what your mind is up to. What is it up to? So if your material needs are 20%, 80% developed, 20% your needs, but because of your sheer effort, because of your sheer hard work, you have 60% of the world with you. Mentally you need 20%, means you're very happy taking a public transport to work. I'm happy to take a bus to work, but I have a car with me. What is that plus 40? What is that plus 40, sir? Heaven. Excess. Everything becomes an excess because my necessity is less. So if you live life this way, as I said, this is a sign of wisdom. If you are a wise man, you will know how to produce. You're a producer. As I've said, you're a go-getter. You achieve things. You have goals, you have targets, you have missions, you have planning. Everything is organized. As I'm mentioning organized, as you know, I'm traveling to Malaysia tomorrow for a couple of weeks for lectures. And I was just planning, I was just packing my bags. I do my own packing. No doubt I get help if I need, but I do my own things. You know the number of things that has to be packed for my 2-week trip? The number of things. The number is 59 items. it is all crystal clear, put down. What is all going into my bag? Going down to how many handkerchiefs, what lecture material, how many pens, how many pencils. I need a timepiece. Precise. A spiritual man is dexterous, they say, dakshaha. One of the qualities of a bhakta, in fact. In the 12th chapter of the Gita, they say, bhakta is daksha. Means a person, if you look at a bhakta, if you look at how he prepares the prayer room, what is that? In fact, he wouldn't even enter the prayer room without having a bath. He wouldn't touch, he wouldn't touch anything after prayer. Should not be touched. Go into the prayer room. With what precision everything is done, isn't it? The idols are clean, the place is spick and span, the food which is being offered is prepared with the best ingredients, with the best bhavana. Everything thereafter is an offering to the Lord, isn't it? What precision is brought by that pujari or by the bhakta to that prayer room? Can you bring that precision and that dexterity to every work you do? So at the material level, you are very efficient, very productive. And when I'm packing my bags on the 31st night, I make sure everything in the list is got back into the suitcase. Not one way. Return must be also same, no? 7 kerchiefs have gone, only 5 have come back. What happened to the other 2? I forgot that. It is not going to a point of absurdity. I'm saying to be conscious. Materially you are productive. Spiritually, I'm happy with 40 pounds a year. In fact, we are happy with nothing. When I say nothing, we are designed for that. We don't need incentives to work. The corporate world will crash without incentives. How long can you go to office without receiving a salary, sir? Sir. How many months can you go to work knowing that your company is not in a good shape and you will not be paid? No guarantee you will get it back later on. But you have been with an organization for long. How long can you go back? 6 months without grumbling, without complaining. 7th month, strike. Next step. Now, I'm not trying to impress you all. I appreciate 6 months is a very good time. Very good time. I give you a lot of credit for that. Okay. There have been election because people are born, those who want to, like, affordable, not affordable. Right. So, for few reasons, people have stayed for 3 months without a single penny discourse or assured or mentioned. 3 months, huh? 3 months. March 12th was the last day they announced the bankruptcy. Till last week, they've been waiting for a message. So, those many people continued for 3 months, like one person. Those who are left in the first few weeks of going, the first few months of filing, all gone. So you can say more like 2/3 gone, 1/3 left. Hats off to them. At least they are holding on. Receiving something, some hope somewhere. As I've said, nothing drives without hope, isn't it? A hope something, my life will become better. As I said, I'm not trying to impress you all. I've been going to these classrooms for the past 25 years. Not a month I got a salary. 25 years counting. As I said, my journey started when I was 16. First 3 years I learned, and right after that I started lecturing. Not a day I received a pay. Not a day I received a salary. No guarantee what is to come. You wouldn't have known unless I mentioned it. And this is a fundamental question everybody asks me when they get little close to me. How do you manage life? This is the next question. You may be uncomfortable to ask in a platform or a classroom like this, but when you get close to me, people ask this. How do you manage life then? How is it you're taken care of? I only say I'm doing divine work. Divinity will send messengers to take care. That's how it has been. All my life I have been taken care of. By whom? Students of benefaction, people who have benefited, they felt utterly indebted. And not a condition was laid. Neither is a condition laid now. Any condition laid? No condition laid. It will come unconditionally. The moment I lay a condition, it's gone. But how long can you receive? Nobody can receive beyond a point, and in that fact that you receive, you find obliged to, can I be of any help? It's the next thought that will automatically come. I'm not doing for that thought. If it doesn't come, these were the passing words of Muhammad. Muhammad was on his deathbed, and his students, close students, went up to him and said, Master, what is thy parting message? And Muhammad said to them, He is best amongst you who is best at repaying. He is best amongst you who is best at repaying. Never be indebted to the world. I went to a stationery shop the other day just to pick up a particular stationery thing, and I was checking whether I was carrying my wallet. And I was not carrying. I know that shop and the owners for the past 20 years. And I can say I can pick up and I give it to come back and give it to you. They'll say, no problem, Tiskondi. Take what you want. And I come back, no problem. She'll not even write down because they've known for so many years. But I felt so uncomfortable to even to ask and say, please give me, I'll come back and give. I went back home, bought my wallet and purchased it. Uncomfortable. I will have sleepless nights if I owe something to anyone. Shakespeare says, neither a borrower nor lender be. For borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. Any business you start with borrowing, you dull the very business. Neither a borrower nor lender be, for loan oft loses itself and the friend. Never give a loan to a friend. Never make the mistake. Shakespeare says in Hamlet, Polonius advised to Laertes, he says, neither a borrower nor lender be. Don't borrow from anyone nor lend it. For loan oft loses itself and the friend. Because that guy has taken in desperate needs, he promised to return it at some time. Poor chap, he is not in a position to return. Can you still maintain that friendship? If you are in a position to give it and forget it. If it comes back, it's a bonus. But at least your relationship is intact. Simple principles we violated and we mess up our lives. Neither a borrower nor lender be. Never live on borrowing. It adds the the edge of husband, dulls the edge of husbandry, means business. The moment you start, your account will show minus, minus, minus. I'm just telling as a matter of information. The Wisdom Foundation just a year old. And we just started it. We are humble beginning. We are happy to do that. And Jayaraman will know, she is maintaining accounts. And to promote, to maintain, to run its activities, it needs resources. We don't have patrons, we don't have support, never mind, we will do that. So wherever possible, we have supported it. And when the accounts fellow came for filing, he has checked with me, sir, there's so much amount that has been donated by you, can we put as minus? So when the funds come back, the foundation will give back to you. Not that I'm any rich, but I'm rich. Because 40 pounds a year, to which I said, I don't want minus reflecting in the statement of accounts. No minus reflecting. Whatever is given is given. Did I say that? She is testimony to that. I said, no, it will not reflect minus. It will never reflect, it should never reflect minus. If it has 10 rupees, it's always positive. It should not be minus 50,000 or minus 10,000. Never. Always be positive. Your books must always be positive. Never owe to the world. So when I was very philosophically in my mood of talking, one of my students in Malaysia, she's a very powerful banker, businessman. She started attacking me with all the love. She said, Guruji, okay, now you say, you are, as I've said, in fact I quote Shakespeare, which says, there's a divinity that shapes our ends. Some way Providence will come and help you. I believe in that system. So therefore I'm driven. 25 years, no salary, sir. 3 months only. 25 years. I'm going tomorrow to Malaysia. No condition late, sir. Again ask Jayaraman testimony. Correct? She's coming. A week later, she's coming all the way to Malaysia to attend a retreat. I'm actually doing 3-day retreat. One of the events is a 3-day retreat in a beautiful hills called the Frasers. It's a beautiful couple of hours drive from Kuala Lumpur. It's a beautiful hill station. We are actually doing selected verses from the great Sant Kabir. So she was happy to join. She was most welcome. She's coming there. So I was talking to this. So the lady got up and said, sir, how can you say divinity? Don't you have a family? Don't you have a kid? Tomorrow when your kid needs to be admitted into a, what do you call? To a college, Join. Admitted is the wrong word. Join in a university or a college. Is it not the obligation as a father to take care of her needs and do what she needs? Blah, 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 she went on. To which I said, Ma, looks like you are more worried of my daughter's university than I am. And this was almost, how old are you, Vaishnav, now? How old are you? 13. Easily 8-9 years ago this lady asked. 8-9 years ago. So when Vaishnavi was 5 years old, that lady is worried of my daughter's university, which is another 20 years, 15 years, 16 years. She's worried of her university. How will you manage? Then I said, since you are more worried of her, when the need comes, I'll come to you. You take care of it. I am not worried. It is not my worry. Since it is your worry, you take care of it. No? Correct? From that day, abundance. Without any salary. That is the interesting part. Abundance in heart, sir. You must be rich. In fact, the very great, the beautiful play by, Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. You must watch that movie, Les Miserables. It's a classic by great Victor Hugo. I don't know whether I'm tempted to tell the story, but Inike Gita poetry, no, I'll not do that. I'll quickly get on to it. Victor Hugo says this, the crux of the whole takeaway. I'll give you a short story, otherwise you don't understand. There was this very hard-working, I think it was he was a carpenter, some kind of a laborer. It was difficult times. He didn't get business. He goes back home that evening. He sees his family and brothers, children who are with him starving and suffering. He's so desperate to support them, he goes out disappointed and he sees a bakery. He just breaks the glass and steals a loaf of bread. To his bad luck, he gets caught by the police. He's imprisoned. And the rules were so total anarchy those days. He is imprisoned for 10 years for stealing a loaf of bread. He appeals in the court. I am a very honest and hard-working man. It's desperate times that forced me to commit such an act. Please forgive me. I accept my mistake, but no, nothing doing. 10 years imprisoned. He spends a few months and says, no, I have to leave this prison. He tries to escape. He gets caught. Another 5 years imprisonment. At the time when he gets the punishment, he spits on the inspector, Inspector Javert. I remember the Javert is the officer. He spits at him. And the convict or this boy, the man is John Valjean. John, correct. John Valjean. And the Inspector Javert. So he spits at the inspector for insulting him another 5 years. So no soon his imprisonment goes to 20 years. Second time again he tries to escape, he is caught. Another 5 years. So very soon he gets an imprisonment 25 years for stealing a loaf of bread. He spends 7-8 years, considerable time, and during the process his goal was to escape the prison. And he does a master plan and he escapes. He runs away from the prison and he finds himself in a very cold winter night, no place to go. He's actually sleeping on a pavement. And a passerby sees this man shivering and struggling. Said, why don't you seek help, son? He says, I have knocked at every door. Nobody is offered any help because he was in a prison clothes. Nobody would help him. Nobody invited him. Then he pointed out a particular door and said, try that door. And it happened to be a priest who lives there. And in fact, he found the only door that was welcoming. He was welcome. And by the time, in fact, the lady, the nurse who was actually, the lady who was actually helping the elderly man, she opened the door, she welcomed him. The priest was actually having supper. Would you like to have food? And the ritual in the house was, whenever guests come, the food would be served in silver plates. Knowing well this guy is a convict, they end up serving food in the silver plates to him. He has his dinner, not a word spoken by the priest and the convict. After dinner, he was about to leave. Son, the priest says, why don't you sleep tonight and go wherever you have to go tomorrow morning? No questions asked. Where are you? Who are you? What it is? Nothing. Please take rest. You can leave tomorrow morning. And the irony of it is, the silver plates were kept in the cupboard in the guest room where our friend was sleeping. He watches the lady putting the silver plates. And the lady takes leave at night. He takes the silverware and he runs. Opportunity. Silverware. What more? It's everything for him. And he is caught by the police next morning. And the police knew whose silverware is it because they were also entertained by the priest. They knew it's a priest's silverware. So they brought him back to the priest next morning. The priest is standing, the police standing, this guy on his knees. And the priest says to the police, what have you done? You have done a big blunder, big mistake. I've actually gifted it to him yesterday night. The police seek apology from the priest and from the man because he did not defend. If it was a gift, he would have said, it is a gift. No, he didn't speak a word. So they apologize to the priest, apologize to John, they take leave. I had to tell all this story for this particular statement. And then the priest goes to that solid candlestick stands, silver solid candlestick stands. There were 2 candlestick stands, more valuable than those silver plates. a solid, heavy stance. He didn't know that. Otherwise, he would have taken that and run away. He didn't know that. The priest gives these two stands to him and says, "Son, remember, life is to give, not to take." Number 12, which is not there in the list which is given to you. So let's chant verse 12 and then I'll explain to it. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. Now there's a reason why I did not include the verse, because in fact here Krishna is giving the highest advice, the highest declaration, the highest truth Krishna gives. And in fact Lord Krishna gives this advice. Sir, when anybody gives an advice, what is it that a speaker should keep in mind? When any knowledge is given by any speaker, what is it he should keep in mind? It is relevant to the recipient. Point one. Any other point? Should benefit or develop the recipient. Perfect. Anything else? That is understood. The Guru is expected to give the benefit of doubt to the Guru. But while the Guru is preaching, what is it that is, in fact, right now I'm speaking, I'm trying to constantly make sure I do that. What is that? If you are, I'm sure you are in a position, you have spoken at times in conferences or places, you always make sure that. What is it that? Very important. In fact, so it's understood, you don't have to mention it. Because Krishna is violating that. I'm saying it because he is violating it for a reason. What is it you keep in mind? You have to ensure that the message is always tailored to the audience. If an audience is at a certain level, I can't speak too high nor speak too low. If I speak too low, you get bored. You get distracted. You know, how do I know you're getting distracted? Or you're not following? You know, how does the speaker know that he's gone too low or it is boring for the audience? How will the speaker know? Face reading. You will not keep an eye-to-eye contact with me. You know it. Yeah. Correct. That bridge comes and then you lose the attention of the audience and you don't keep the eye-to-eye contact. So that's how the speaker knows. Little public speaking skills, if you have spoken a little bit, you will be able to pick up this feedback. Unknowingly, the audience is giving a feedback to you. So you must quickly try to adjust yourself. You crack a joke, or you just pull up someone, or you tell a story, or you just try to play with it. You must have that little command with you. If I go too high, you're scratching your head. What is he saying? Something else is talking, something else is going on. As Umar Khayyam, you know, the famous Persian poet, Umar Khayyam, he says, they talked about and about. I came out to the same door I went in. Nothing entered me. They spoke so many things about and about. Nothing was relevant to me, nothing was to the point, nothing made sense to me. Now, as I've said, Krishna has just started his sermon in the second chapter, and in the second verse Krishna is speaking, and he is speaking the highest truth. He is speaking the truth knowing well it will be a complete bouncer for Arjuna. Total bouncer. Gone way above his head. And a man of Krishna's caliber will not make the fundamental mistake, because he is a Jagat Guru. If an ordinary guru like any one of us can keep this in mind to address an audience, to benefit the audience, to benefit the recipient, he had an only student, an only friend, Arjuna. He had to make sure that he understood, isn't it? The reason he speaks high philosophy is just to establish his caliber in the mind of Arjuna. Arjuna only looked upon Krishna as a very dear childhood friend, where they did all that mischief, all that naughty things, all that mischief they did together. He did not know the caliber of Krishna. So just to establish that caliber, he speaks the highest truth. So I am going to speak the truth which Krishna has spoken, because I am requested to speak this, explain this verse. Please forgive me if you have not understood or don't understand anything. It is out of the prescribed text, but I am more than happy to do it. Now the translation is, he says, never indeed was I not, nor you, nor these rulers of men. Also none of us will cease to be hereafter. Never indeed was I not, nor you, nor these rulers of men. None of us will cease to be hereafter. Now, how to explain this? Adha prachana. Whenever these masters, whoever it is, whether be it Krishna or Muhammad or Christ or Buddha or Zoroaster or anyone, these great masters, whenever they use the first person singular pronoun I, first person singular pronoun I, whenever these men use the word I or me, when Christ says, come to me, I am thy savior, when Krishna says I, whom are they referring to? Atman. They are referring to the God. They are referring to the absolute truth or reality. So if I ask you, who are you, sir? Can you please introduce yourself? What would you say? I'm asking you, sir. Who are you? What is your name? You would say, I am Vaidyanathan. What do you do, sir? You say, I am such and such a profession. Where are you from? You say, oh, I am not far away, I am actually here. So when you use the word I, what are you doing? You are describing certain qualities, certain attributes. All the descriptions you give about I is actually qualifying, distorting, destroying that I, isn't it? Correct, huh? The I, when you and I use, it means contextual, limited. It in fact refers to the ego, the jiva. But when these masters use the word I, they mean the Atman, the self, not Mr. Krishna, not Mr. Christ, not Mr. Buddha. Now people have misunderstood this, so people have become a cult has created, because followers of Krishna believe Krishna alone is the savior. Krishna is not saying worship me alone as a personality. They are meaning, what is he saying? They are referring to the truth. So when he says, never indeed was I not, half bouncer already, huh? Okay, huh? Chest level 100. Slowly it's going to go above. I'm glad you're following, sir. The definition of reality. You will have to listen to this maybe 15-20 times and then do a lot of manana just to grasp what it is. First time is it really it will go all over your head. Believe me. I know you are very cooperative. I have a best audience there. Thank you. Very cooperative audience. You allow me to be with my flow. You know, what's the definition of reality? A reality is that which persists, which exists at all periods of time. It should exist in the past, it should exist now, it should exist in the future. Then it is the real. So when you were a child, I asked you, what would you say? I'm a child. A few years later you say, I'm a boy. A few years old on, I ask you, who are you? I'm a teenager. Then you say, I'm a man. And now I ask you, you may say, I'm an old man. You rightly said, I'm a child. You said, I'm a boy. I'm a youth. I'm a man. I'm an old man. Are you really sure who you are? Do you really think you are this person you're describing? If you were the same person you are describing now, then that person should be the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, which is not so. The boy is not the child is not the boy is not the youth is not the man is not the old man. It is all changing. I ask you, who are you? I don't know. Total bouncer. Who am I? All the time referring to something perishable, changing. Sorry, sir? Transformation. It's a constant change, it's transformation. Not sustained. So you impermanent. You do not know what that I is. That's what the very famous words of Moses. You know the voice that spoke back to the Moses in the mountain? What was those words? Sacrifice your son. Anything else? And a voice that spoke on the mountain, Moses asked, who are you? What did he reply? I am that I am. This was the voice that came out. The voice said, I am that I am. Not I am Vaidyanathan, I am Vinay Kumar, I am doing this. None of that. I am that I am. That is the pure consciousness. All what we are talking is the conditioned consciousness. I'll give you the famous episode and I'll take leave. King Janaka, we all have heard of King Janaka. King Janaka one day woke up from a dream. He had a horrifying dream. He dreamt as if he was a beggar. A king, a royalty dreaming of a beggar. He didn't understand what was going. And he actually questioned that dream. That's a mistake we do. We never question, we actually dismiss the dreams we have. King Janaka dreamt as a beggar, so he summoned the parliament. Everybody was summoned at midnight. They thought something emergency has come. Like EGM you all had, EGM, AGM, Iniki. Hopefully not EGM, AGM. Some GM. But it was EGM that night, midnight. Janaka called. Everybody came. And he asked this question to everyone. Am I the king who dreamt to be the beggar? Or am I that beggar who is believing myself to be the king now? Who am I? Half of them fellows are already half asleep. They came in the night pants. And there, emergency irke, enna question kekranga King Janaka. Am I the king who dreamt to be the beggar, or am I the beggar who's believing myself to be the king sitting on the throne now? Who am I? By the time they woke up, he was dead serious to know the answer. What is this? I need to know. He gave them 1 month's time. You better fellows come back with an answer. 1 month too long, 1 week. Sorry, I can change a little bit inganga, but the content is the same. They did not know. And then they brought the celebrated sage Ashtavakra. The great Ashtavakra came. And when Janaka saw Ashtavakra, he actually bowed down in reverence. That's what you do to any man of knowledge. Bowed down in reverence and asked this question with devotion. Am I the king who dreamt to be the beggar, or am I that beggar? It was bothering him. Or am I that beggar believing myself to be the king? He said the famous answer, he said, you're neither. You're nor the beggar, nor the king. You are the truth. You are that Atman. You are that reality. You're not the waker. You're not the dreamer. You're not the deep sleeper. You are yourself. You are that pure consciousness. You know everything about and about, but you do not know yourself. And this Gita is about, as I said, the entire Gita is trying to talk about that aphorism which is in 3 words. The 3 words, how many verses? 701 verses, illingla Gita. 18 chapters, 700 verses can be summarized into 3 words, which is the famous aphorism, Tat Tvam Asi. That thou art. You are that I. So if you are able to capture that I in the form of I, you have realized it. But the moment you say I, you have to qualify it, you have to distort it. So what Krishna says, never indeed was I not, nor these rulers of men, and none of them will cease to be hereafter. What he's saying is, it is only their physical body that is dying. The Atman in him never dies, man. So you are only nimitta matram. You are only an instrument. You just do your duty and go and kill them. They are never dead. The Atman in him never dies. What is it that dies in a person? It's just the matter that dies. The Atman, the spirit, never dies. It is immortal. What dies at birth, what is born at birth, what dies at death is matter. Atman never dies. This is in short the gist of what he's saying here. You are the truth. So every time you use the word I, try not to qualify it. I am. That is what is the aphorism which says, sir, whenever you say anything I am is qualifying I. But when I say aham brahmasmi, when I say I am Brahman, that word I am Brahman is not the same as I am Vinay. Is not the same as I am in Indian. I am God is not qualifying I. Anything other than God is actually qualifying it. So I hope you can do enough reflection, enough material to do manana, and I will, as I've said, we will take a break for a couple of weeks. The next session, what is the next date? The first Sunday of August, 5th of August. next month, 5th of August. So if you have any of your colleagues or friends who have been coming and not arrived today, just let them know that we will not have sessions for next 2 weeks. We don't want to let them come here and realize it's not there. But we'll catch up on my return on the 5th of August. Okay? But you'll all continue to receive the little snippet videos or broadcast you're receiving. I hope you all are getting it. And you can still connect it with the subject. Alright? Thank you. Hari Om.